Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Hey, we are almost at Christmas, and it was a quick year. I just realized that we've already passed the winter solstice, so from here the days get longer, and winter might not be done yet, but at least the days aren't getting shorter every day of the week. So that is a good sign to me, and keeps me going. So a couple of video responses wanted to do today. The first one is going to be for Hugo at Signs of the Pastime, and his was what's your favorite card pickup for this year. Um, this probably won't come to a surprise to too many, but mine was pretty easy. Mine is the 1928 Yingling ice cream card. And the reason it is one of my favorites is just the history behind the card. As I talked about in my video, on the card is 1928. We were in the middle of Prohibition, and all these companies, Budweiser, Yingling, and such, were trying to make ends meet. And how do you make ends meet? Well, a lot of them got involved in dairy farms and ice cream, milkshakes, cheese, etc. And so in 1928, a few companies got together. They all used the same card with the same backs, pretty much, except for a little bit different. One was done by one company, another by another. Yingling being the famous beer company here, and well, I guess the eastern side of the country, and now maybe nationwide, but made this. This is the best card I've seen of Frank on here, so uh, I'm a big fan of it. Uh, so yeah, that's my favorite card for the year for the pickup here. And if you haven't seen the Fat Electrician's video um, on the dairy market and how things changed from Prohibition to the Second World War to present, I highly recommend it. The next one was from 3D's 80 Kids, uh, John over there, and I don't know if John's ever explained it in any of his first videos, but I don't remember anything 3D from the 80s. Like I grew up in the 80s, and I just don't remember too much 3D stuff there. So maybe there's a story behind that we'll have to go back and hear about. So one of the things sorry, should say. So John had asked, like, what's the three things about the hobby that you love, or that you focus on, or something along those lines. Sorry, John, I'm butchering your words here. Um, so one of mine is I like collecting cards from when my dad played. It gives me a chance to talk to him. So the reason I buy cards and research different players is just so I can talk to him about it. Show him cards, get us talking about old times, and get him retelling stories, um, whether it's Pete Runnels or uh, you know Sandy Koufax. It doesn't matter. Just hearing all sorts of stories. Stan Musial. That's one of the reasons I bought a card of his a while back as well. Um, so yeah, I also love the history. Which is kind of going back to this card. The reason I bought this card is it's all about history. Yes, Frank Frisch is a Hall of Famer, um, but I like the history of the card. I like the fact that there's a story and a reason that a beer company made an ice cream baseball card. And the last one is I like understanding the hobby more and cards more, and what and how to keep my cards in shape. So what when I run experiments like the different UV fading experiments or which UV card protectors work better, honestly it just drives me to love the cards more and want to protect them more. So recently, John Mangini had asked if I could tell the difference between a card that had faded over time in sunlight versus a card, a vintage card that had been faded, not because of UV light, but just because of the print run is kind of the ink runs out or they change ink mixtures. And so my answer is I think it can be done, but I have to find out for sure if it can. So I've bought a wide variety of cards. And I don't know if the video will show it, but most of them are in fairly the same shade of bright yellow. So why does that matter? Well, first you might be wondering, what is this? This is a 1967 Washington Senators card. It is, they're all kind of in tough shape, but the colors overall are good. And so we'll see if I can get a couple of these going. So you can see there, maybe a little, you can tell just a little bit different. And so we'll just keep holding them up as we go along. So those are fairly close. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick one of these under a regular lamp. No big deal. One of these I'm going to stick outside for about 2 weeks. And the rest I'm going to keep locked up and safe. And we're going to put a visual eye test to this. We're going to look and see how close we can get to figuring out which one was which. And then we're going to put a UV, we're going to put a spectrometer on all of them. And we're going to see if we can tell if the UV has changed any of them, or specifically the one that was faded. The reason I think this is possible is because, what was it? I think it was in my first video on this, so episode 4. I think it said, I think it was Library of Congress said UV breaks down the chemical bonds of pigments, and that's why you see fading. So I'm thinking that a spectrometer would allow me to see something different than just one of these cards is more faded than the other, just by a bit. And I think there will be a difference enough to tell from a spectrometer. And the question is, can I do it with the visual eye? And I think I can. It just might be more qualitative than quantitative. But yeah, we'll see. So those are the things I like doing, and I appreciate the video. It gives me a chance to talk as I've been kind of prepping these and getting them ready. So once again, I'm destroying old cards. Like I said, none of these were mint or near mint. One of them, this one, which you probably won't be able to tell, has a huge crease right down the middle. So all of them are a little banged up and dented, but it should be a fun experiment. I'm also going through and trying to look at some different PSA, SGC scored cards and mark down where the dings are in those and kind of try to understand a little bit better about how they are scored. I think the short answer is there's not a big difference between 8, 9, and 10. People will probably argue with me about that. But I think I'll be able to show it as I continue to make these notes. So, hey, that's it for me. Guys, hope you have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you later. Bye.